All right, well, welcome to our special Boardwalk summer themed write-in. My name is Peter Murphy. I'm the founder of Murphy Writing of Stockton University, and welcome to Beaches, Boardwalks, and Beginnings, a write-in. I look forward to working with you, and I'd also like to thank my Murphy Writing colleague, Stephanie Coley, who's working there in front behind the scenes. So here's how this works. In a moment, I'll give you a prompt that you can use to begin a new poem or piece of fiction or nonfiction. Or if you're already a writer and have something in progress, you can use it to deepen that. At about 3:35 or so, we'll break, we'll stop, and I'll ask you to reread what you've written and then choose a sentence or two that you'd like to share with the whole group. That's optional, so you don't have to do it, but we'd like you to if you'd like to. But before we get started, what I want to do is I want to read a poem that I like, and it's sort of within the theme. This is called Beachcomber by Stanley Moss. And I like how this works. I like the imagination. And he refers to a Portuguese poet, Fernando Pessoa, who died in the early 20th century. And he wrote this poem, Moss wrote this poem in just a year or two ago. So it is imaginative. Beachcomber. I know something about God-forsaken places. Walking on the beach alone, far from the Dead Sea, I thought I saw a horse crab crawling slowly. It was a Gideon Society, black Bible cover. Another time, washed up on a Montauk dune, I found a Chianti wine bottle with a letter in it. I read to myself a child's handwriting. Hello, let's make friends. Please call. She gave her phone number. I held the bottle the week before calling, then asked for Mary Jane in my best Portuguese accent. I am Pessoa. I am calling from Portugal. I will be your friend. She called her father and mother to the phone. I gave a good performance. That's the way it is with you, dear reader. Anyway, it's a quirky little thing, and I don't know what it means, but it's a lot of fun reading it. Okay, ready to write? So I'm going to begin with a quote from the Drifters. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea, yeah, on a blanket with my baby is where I'll be. And the prompt is to write a poem, story, or brief nonfiction essay about a visit to a beach, boardwalk, water park, pool, lake, etc. that went better or worse than expected. Now, if you're not sure how to get started, why don't you begin by writing down the prompt, just writing a few words there, and then find a word that interests you and begin by writing about a memory. Don't worry if it's a poem or a story or memoir. Just start writing and something will come to you. Okay, so get started now, and at about 3:35 or so, we'll break and we'll see what we got. All right, let's start writing. Well, welcome back. Why don't you take a few minutes now to reread what you've written and choose a sentence or two that you might like to share with the entire group. It's optional, so don't feel that you have to leave if you don't want to do it. You can stay and listen. We'll get started in just a moment. Take a look, see if there's something you want to share with the group. While you're at it, why don't you turn on your screen so we can see you as well. All right, is everybody ready? So here's how this works. If you see the participant button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, click that, and on the right side, a window will open up, and there will be a window there, an icon that says raise your hand. So you can raise your hand, and then Stephanie will call on you. But if you don't want to raise your hand, you just go like that, and that'll work as well. And if you'd like to respond to what somebody writes, there's a reaction button at the bottom, and you can either raise the hand for clapping or do a thumbs up. And that way the reader will know that you've been listening and appreciate it. Or you can also go like that or like that as well. We're old tech as well as new tech. So let's hear what you got. So Stephanie, anybody have their hand up?
Okay, and I also just wanted to say if we're in the 48 blocks Zoom room as well, and so if anybody's over there and not in our Zoom here, you can add it to the chat and I'll try to get to you, but there's a little bit of a lag, so add it to the chat now and we'll try and get you by the end. Okay, so first up over here is Jessica.
I didn't know it'd be that fast. Okay. Someone in a writing workshop once said she didn't believe the lyrics to Under the Boardwalk. She couldn't visualize them. How does one get under a boardwalk?
Next is Christine.
Here where we overstay, watch the lifeguards pack up, tip their stands in a relief of duty. It's here where I remember my father swirling my little sister by the hands, round and round, her laughter, my pleading, me too, me too. How I was too old, too large, couldn't float above the sand. How mouth open in my own anticipation became cave, became bulldozer, filled with sand, the hot tears searing.
Next is Nancy. You've got to hit unmute, Nancy.
Okay, that should do it, right?
There you go.
Okay. I came to realize that the worst part wasn't the sharks, which were probably only sandbar sharks, whose disproportionately large dorsal fins belied their smaller size and who, according to Wikipedia, weren't likely to rip our bodies to shreds. Not really.
Next is, oh, I see a hand from Irene. Let's go to you, Irene.
You. Okay, we stood on the edge of the earth and looked down on the water, splashing and soaking against those hard gray rocks, and knew even then, at 16, how special and precious each moment was, fleeting and perfect like life itself.
Next is Jen.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep.
I write this as the flowers burn and longing beads up one drip at a time. What joy is there in this? To ripen into sweet glory, then relent your firmness is to die. To stay out of the sun is a privilege. Let us redeem it.
Next is Juliet.
She wanted her arms in the cedar water to see them stain orange-brown, brown-orange, and bent, refracted like the passing beams of sunlight.
Next is Stephen.
Unmuted. And under the boardwalk was the forbidden place to go when I was spending my summers in Atlantic City. Under the boardwalk radiated a smell of dank and decay. It was dirty with washed up trash, newspapers, and discarded clothes that reeked of illness and trouble. It was dark and alluring, and yet it beckoned unto me to discover for its possibilities of finding fortune that was buried in its sand.
Next is Catherine.
Don't go into the cabanas with anything else in mind, said Joe, our manager. I don't want to see anyone playing cards in there. No hiding, no sleeping, no fried calamari. Right, Sam? She knows.
Next is Deborah.
In the 8th grade, I don't remember how it happened when I went.
Deborah, I'm not sure your audio is working.
Can you hear me at all?
A little bit.
Very dimly.
Don't worry about it then. Go on to the next person.
All right. Is there anyone else you can give a wave like this if you're not sure where to find the unmute button? MP.
Hi, thank you. My happiest place on earth never disappointed me through 1.5 decades of thrilling pure rides, mostly darling roller coasters, after the kiddie rides, and the gaudiest old merry-go-round. Until a summer's day at age 18 with a boyfriend on a Ferris wheel brought me to my knees, lunch teed on the boards, something I thought could only happen to me.
Next is Tiffany.
When we think about our lives, we think about moments, the highs and the lows, the laughter and the tears, and we forget that often both were present on the same day at the same time.
I've got one from the chat in the other room. This is from Wendy. I remember every Saturday, my dad took me to Ala Moana Beach in Honolulu to teach me to swim. 50 years later, I miss Dad now that I am able to finally swim to the reef. That's from Wendy. Anyone else with a wave of the hand? Then we'll turn to, oh, Mary Lisa? Oh, you're muted, Mary Lisa. I'm saving you for last, Peter.
Unmute myself. There we go. Okay. Let's see. In Old Lyme, my little brother was only 7, we remembered together, when he was carried off too far out of reach for me to swim to save him, me being only 10, a skinny little thing. Still, he was under my supervision. Thin but quick, I ran to the tallest teenagers I could find, screaming, "My brother is drowning, my brother is drowning." And they ran until they swam to reach him, dragged him to where I waited, my insides vacuumed out until his chest blew out of breath. There's more, but I didn't want to take up too much time.
Next is Denise.
Okay, Michael, my husband, Michael, actually is going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Out on the boardwalk, I had walked crabwise down onto the beach, and a person came up to me and said, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Gary Now, N-A-U," he said, flashing his badge out of somewhere. What's your name? Why are you here? Well, officer, Mike, what are those dots on your arm? Actually, it's just red paint. Oh, yeah, sure, Mike. Listen, if you have any information for me about any heroin dealers in the area, I pay for info. Remember my name, Gary Now, N-A-U.
Okay, and last, we'll go to you, Peter.
As you are leaving Central Park, you see 5 women wearing saris, kicking a soccer ball and falling all over each other. They are rolling on the grass and laughing loud. You feel like you're in a movie, Bend It Like Beckham. You begin to laugh. You laugh like you've never laughed in years.
Okay, last call. Anybody else? Okay, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you all for writing with us. If you enjoyed this, we also do write-ins on Mondays at 4 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. In addition, we have over 100 writing prompts on our Canvas website. Go to murphywriting.com to learn about these free programs, as well as some other writing programs we have that we charge money. And if you got a few minutes, why don't you stick around on 48 blocks. I'll put the link here. And in a few minutes, there's going to be a movie that Michael McGarvey, who you just heard with Now, is going to, he made a film version of this book that we wrote together, Atlantic City Lives. I wrote the poems, Michael made the book by hand. And so there's going to be a video of that in just a few minutes. And let's see if we get this up here to everyone. If you go to this link, it's the 48 Blocks official link, and it goes on at 4 o'clock. And I think there's some other things going on that before we stop here in a moment. Stephanie, is that right?
No, that's it. So that's it for us. But yeah, we encourage you to check out the rest of the 48 Blocks stuff for the rest of the day. And thank you to everybody who's not in our Zoom room. We're casting to another Zoom room. So thank you to everybody over in the 48 Blocks Zoom too.
Okay. Also on YouTube. How about that? We are
everywhere.
Everywhere. Thank you for coming. Be safe. Right on. And hope you enjoyed this. Don't get sunburned. And there is an Under the Boardwalk.